This is Radio Truth, a series of commentaries by Dr. Michael Parenti. Michael Parenti is an activist and internationally known award-winning author and scholar. His recent books include The Assassination of Julius Caesar and Super-Patriotism. His latest book, The Culture Struggle, will be released in November 2005. For further information, please visit his website, michaelparenti.org.
Crime in the suites. Corporate crime is not a rarity, but a regularity. The Department of Justice found that 60% of the 500 largest U.S. companies have been guilty of one or more criminal actions, be it tax evasion, price fixing, illegal kickbacks, insider trading, bribes to public officials, consumer fraud, or violation of workplace safety and environmental laws. The Department of Labor found that corporations have filched hundreds of billions of dollars from worker pension funds. Many corporations are repeat offenders. Over the years, General Electric has been convicted of 282 counts of contract fraud and fined $20 million. MCI WorldCom was charged with 216 violations involving toxic substances and was fined $600,000. Telephone companies routinely inflate their cost reports in order to justify higher rates for consumers and bigger tax write-offs for themselves. The Interior Department reported that over a 16-year period, major oil firms may have shortchanged the federal government by nearly $856 million in royalties by understating the value of the oil they pumped from federal lands. Not one of the executives involved in these various violations ever went to jail. The 4,000 or so people on death row in the United States have killed a few more than their own number. Had they used lethal industrial chemicals, unsafe pharmaceutical drugs, or dangerously defective products, or had they illegally dumped toxic wastes or maintained unsafe work conditions, they could have killed and crippled tens of thousands more without ever going to prison. Over the years, Honeywell ignored defects in gas heaters, resulting in 22 deaths and 77 crippling injuries, for which it was fined $800,000. Johns Manville Corporation suppressed information about the asbestos poisoning of its workers. When ordered to pay damages in civil court, it declared bankruptcy to avoid payment. An executive of Eli Lilly pleaded no contest for failing to inform the government about the effects of Oriflex, a drug suspected of causing 49 deaths in the United States and several hundred abroad. He was fined $15,000. W.R. Grace pleaded guilty to having lied to the EPA about dumping toxic chemicals into well water, subsequently linked to 8 leukemia deaths. Grace was fined $10,000. After being charged with unlawfully burning toxic wastes into the atmosphere for 20 years, Potomac Electrical Power of Washington, D.C. was fined the crushing sum of $500. When Firestone pleaded guilty to filing false tax returns, concealing $12.6 million in income, and conspiring to obstruct legal audits of its accounts, it was fined $10,000, and no one went to jail. Over 700 people a year go to jail for tax evasion, almost all of them for sums smaller than the amount Firestone concealed. Even when the fine is more substantial, it usually represents a fraction of company profits and fails to compensate for the damage wreaked. Rockwell International agreed to pay a seemingly hefty $18 million fine after pleading guilty to 5 felonies for radioactive and chemical contamination at Rocky Flats. But the actual cleanup will cost the government billions of dollars. Over several years, Food Lion cheated its employees of at least $200 million by forcing them to work off the clock. But in a court settlement, the company paid only $13 million in fines. Who says crime doesn't pay? It pays if you're a corporation. And if you're a corporation, it seems to be a way of life. This is Michael Parenti for Radio Truth.
This commentary was produced by the LA Sound Posse and may be freely copied and distributed. You can find us on the web at lasoundposse.org. The music was Flute Medicine by Synth.